Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night, your heart pounding against your ribs, drenched in sweat, with a terrifying sense of familiarity? You look around your dark room, catch your breath, and realize you have just experienced the exact same nightmare all over again. It might be the classic dream where you are running for your life, but your legs feel like they are submerged in wet cement. It might be the dream where all your teeth suddenly crumble into glass and fall out into your hands. Or perhaps you find yourself back in high school, sitting in front of a final exam for a class you forgot you even enrolled in. You wake up feeling exhausted, confused, and slightly disturbed. You shake it off, brush your teeth, grab a cup of coffee, and try to forget about it. You tell yourself it was just a random glitch in your brain, just a biological byproduct of stress or a late-night snack. But then a week passes. A month passes. Maybe even a year. And there it is again. The same setting, the same panic, the same ending. Your conscious mind tries to brush it off, but your body knows better. There is a strange, persistent weight left behind in your chest. A quiet voice whispering that something inside you is desperately trying to get your attention. If you are stuck in a loop of recurring dreams, you are not alone. Billions of people throughout history have felt trapped inside the endless hallways of their own nocturnal minds. Modern neuroscience often dismisses these dreams as simple neurological processing. Scientists might tell you that your brain is just consolidating memory, or that your nervous system is rehearsing survival instincts through what they call threat simulation theory. While those biological explanations have their place, they often leave us feeling empty. They fail to explain the profound emotional weight, the uncanny symbolism, and the strange, intelligence-like intentionality behind these recurring visions. To truly understand why your mind insists on playing the exact same movie night after night, we have to step beyond the mechanical view of the brain. We have to enter the world of analytical psychology, the realm of Carl Gustav Jung. Jung spent decades studying the mysteries of the human psyche. He analyzed tens of thousands of dreams, both his own and those of his patients. And he came to a revolutionary conclusion that shattered the conventional thinking of his time. Jung proposed that dreams are not random noise. They are not chaotic hallucinations, nor are they sly, deceptive puzzles designed to hide dirty secrets from yourself. Instead, Jung suggested that dreams are a direct, honest, and completely natural expression of your unconscious mind. They act like an internal mirror, reflecting the exact state of your inner psychological reality with radical, uncensored accuracy. To Jung, the psyche is a self-regulating system, much like the physical body. If your body catches a virus, your immune system triggers a fever to restore balance. If you cut your skin, your cells immediately start rebuilding to close the wound. Jung believed the mind works in the exact same way. When your conscious attitude becomes too one-sided, too rigid, or entirely disconnected from reality, your unconscious steps in to compensate. It creates dreams to restore psychological balance. Jung called this fundamental mechanism the compensatory function of dreams. Now, imagine what happens when you refuse to listen to that internal compensation. Imagine ignoring a physical wound until it becomes infected. The pain gets louder, sharper, and more unbearable. A recurring dream is precisely that kind of escalation. It is not an act of psychological torture. It is a persistent, desperate act of communication. It is a red flag raised by your unconscious because your waking self refuses to acknowledge a vital truth. Think of your unconscious mind as a patient companion. At first, it tries to speak to you in quiet whispers during subtle, fleeting dreams. It uses gentle symbols to nudge you toward self-awareness. If you ignore those whispers because you are too busy, too distracted, or too afraid of what they might mean, the unconscious does not simply give up and go away. It turns up the volume. The whisper becomes a spoken word. The spoken word becomes a shout. And if you continue to close your ears, the shout becomes a recurring nightmare that shakes you awake in terror. The dream will repeat itself 10 times, 100 times, or even thousands of times across decades, until the conscious ego finally turns around, pays attention, and integrates the message. So, what is this mysterious message that your unconscious is so desperate to deliver? Why does it choose such terrifying or uncomfortable scenarios? To decode the meaning behind your recurring dreams, we must look at how the unconscious uses archetypes, universal patterns and themes that exist within all human minds. One of the most common recurring dreams involves being chased by a terrifying figure. It might be a shadowy stranger, a ferocious animal, a faceless monster, or a cold, unrelenting force. In these dreams, no matter how fast you run, you can never seem to get away. Your legs feel impossibly heavy. Your lungs burn. The monster is always gaining on you, just an inch behind your shoulder. In the framework of Jungian psychology, this terrifying chaser is almost always a manifestation of the shadow. The shadow represents all the parts of yourself that you have rejected, repressed, or hidden away from the world. It contains your anger, your dark impulses, and your unhealed traumas. But it also holds your buried talents, your wild creative energy, and your untapped power. When you spend your waking life pretending to be completely nice, passive, and agreeable, when you bury your true boundaries and swallow your anger, that suppressed energy does not vanish. It gathers in the darkness of your unconscious. In your dreams, that rejected energy takes on a form. It becomes the monster chasing you through the dark alley. Notice the paradox here. You think you are running away from a dangerous external enemy, but in reality, you are running away from a vital part of yourself. The reason the dream repeats is because running away is the wrong response. The harder you run from your shadow in the dream, the more terrifying and aggressive the monster becomes. The dream will continue to repeat until you do something radical within your psyche, until you stop running, turn around, and look the shadowy monster directly in the eyes. When patients in analysis finally find the courage to confront the figure chasing them in a recurring dream, something miraculous happens. The monster often transforms. The terrifying beast dissolves into a scared child, a wise guide, or a powerful source of personal strength. Another immensely common recurring dream is the feeling of being totally unprepared. You walk into a massive, bright auditorium. You are supposed to give an important speech or sit for a crucial exam, but suddenly, you realize you haven't studied at all. You don't even know what subject the exam is on. Or worse, you look down and realize you are completely naked in front of a crowd of strangers. This recurring nightmare touches on another core Jungian concept, the persona. The persona is the social mask you wear to fit into society. It is the polished, professional, capable image you present to your boss, your friends, your family, and your social media followers. While having a persona is necessary for surviving in society, many people make the mistake of over-identifying with it. They begin to believe that they are the mask. They become obsessed with perfectionism, fear of failure, and the desperate need to keep up appearances. When you live a life governed by the fear of being exposed as a fraud, when you live behind a rigid mask of perfection, your unconscious creates the unprepared exam dream to shatter your illusion of control. The dream strips away your mask. It strips away your clothes. It puts you in a position of ultimate vulnerability to remind you of a deep truth. You are human. You are imperfect. And your obsession with external approval is starving your true self. The recurring dream of falling or drowning works on a very similar principle. In these dreams, you might be standing on a towering skyscraper or flying high above the clouds, when suddenly, the air gives out beneath you. You plunge into a terrifying freefall toward the hard ground below. Or perhaps you are swimming in a calm ocean when a massive tidal wave rises out of nowhere and pulls you into the crushing depths. Jung observed that falling and drowning dreams frequently occur in people who suffer from what he called ego inflation. Ego inflation happens when your conscious mind becomes disconnected from reality. You might be pushing yourself too hard at work, believing you are invincible. Or you might be holding on to an illusion of absolute control over your life, ignoring your biological, emotional, and spiritual limits. When your conscious mind flies too close to the sun, the unconscious creates a dramatic drop. The fall in the dream is a literal metaphor for psychological reality. It is the unconscious pulling you back down to earth, back to ground level, forcing you to reconnect with your humble, instinctual nature before your real life collapses around you. The water in drowning dreams represents the vast, deep realm of the unconscious itself. When you repress your emotions for too long, those suppressed feelings accumulate like a rising ocean. The tidal wave is not trying to kill you. It is simply reclaiming the territory you denied it. There is also the terrifying recurring dream of teeth falling out, breaking, or decaying in your mouth. Throughout ancient history and modern clinical psychology, teeth have carried powerful symbolic weight. Teeth are our tools for survival. We use them to bite, to chew, to nourish ourselves, and to defend ourselves. They are also a central feature of our smile, deeply connected to our physical attractiveness and confidence. When you repeatedly dream of your teeth crumbling, it often points to a profound loss of personal power, agency, or fear of aging. Are you currently in a situation in your waking life where you feel completely powerless? Are you swallowing your words, unable to bite back or stand up for yourself? Are you terrified of losing your influence, your status, or your youth? Your unconscious uses the visceral, disturbing image of falling teeth to shock you into recognizing how much power you are sacrificing in your daily life. Jung emphasized that dreams do not speak the language of logic, intellect, or written words. They speak in the primal, poetic language of imagery, metaphor, and myth. This is why trying to interpret a recurring dream using cheap, generic dream dictionaries found online rarely works. A dictionary might tell you that dreaming of a snake always means betrayal. But to Jung, a symbol never has a single fixed definition. To an individual who is terrified of snakes, a dream serpent might represent a hidden threat or repulsed instinct. But to a herpetologist who loves reptiles, or to someone familiar with ancient mythology, the serpent might represent healing, transformation, and the shedding of old skin. To truly unlock the secret of your own recurring dream, you must look at the specific context of your own life, your personal associations, and your emotional landscape. You must ask yourself, what does this specific image mean to me? What specific feeling does this scenario evoke in my body? It is also important to address a crucial distinction that Jung made regarding the nature of time in dreams. Sigmund Freud, Jung's famous contemporary, believed that dreams were primarily retrospective, meaning they looked backward into the past. Freud saw dreams as a disguised replay of childhood traumas and repressed infantile wishes. Jung did not entirely disagree with Freud, but he believed this view was dangerously incomplete. Jung proposed that dreams are also prospective, meaning they look forward toward the future. This does not mean Jung believed dreams are magical prophecies that predict the future with literal accuracy. Rather, he meant that the unconscious acts like a brilliant weather forecasting system for your psyche. Your unconscious sees patterns, subtle cues, and hidden trajectory paths in your life that your conscious mind is completely blind to. If you are walking down a path toward burnout, destructive relationships, or psychological breakdown, your conscious mind might rationalize it and say, "Everything is fine, I can handle this." But your unconscious sees the storm gathering on the horizon. It calculates the logical conclusion of your current trajectory, and it crafts a recurring dream as a warning shot across your bow. It is saying, if you continue down this path, if you keep hiding, if you keep pretending, if you keep ignoring your true needs, this nightmare is the psychological destination you are heading toward. Understanding this prospective nature changes everything. It shifts your perspective from being a helpless victim of a strange nightmare to being an active participant in your own evolution. The recurring dream is not a sentence. It is an invitation. It is an invitation to engage in what Jung called individuation, the lifelong journey of becoming the complete, authentic human being you were always meant to be. So, how do you actually stop a recurring dream? How do you break the loop once and for all? The key lies in shifting your relationship with the dream from one of fear and avoidance to one of radical curiosity and dialogue. The first step is to begin writing the dream down the very second you wake up. Keep a journal and a pen directly next to your bed. When you wake up from the recurring dream, do not jump out of bed. Do not immediately reach for your phone to scroll through social media. Lie still for a few moments. Re-enter the atmosphere of the dream. Capture every single detail you can remember, no matter how small or bizarre. Write down the colors, the atmosphere, the setting, and most importantly, the precise emotions you felt during the experience. Was it terror? Shame? Helplessness? Grief? A strange, heavy nostalgia? Once the dream is recorded on paper, you can begin the process of active engagement. Jung developed a powerful therapeutic technique known as active imagination. This is a method of bridging the gap between your conscious mind and your unconscious world while you are wide awake. To practice active imagination with a recurring dream, find a quiet space where you will not be disturbed. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and bring the scene of the recurring dream back into your mind's eye. Replay the dream until you reach the exact moment where the terror peaks, the moment where you usually wake up. Now, instead of snapping your eyes open or running away, hold the scene steady in your imagination. Take a deep breath and consciously choose to change your response. If you are being chased by a terrifying shadow, imagine yourself stopping in your tracks. Turn around, look at the shadow. Ask it directly, who are you? Why are you chasing me? What do you need from me? If you are standing naked in front of a crowd, imagine taking a deep breath, standing tall, and saying to the audience, "This is who I am. I have nothing left to hide." If you are falling, imagine letting go of the panic. Trust the fall. Allow yourself to drop into the darkness to see what lies at the bottom. This might sound like a simple visualization exercise, but within the mechanics of the human psyche, it is a profound act of integration. By changing your conscious stance toward the dream symbol while awake, you send a direct signal down into the deep waters of your unconscious. You are telling your deeper self, "I am listening now. I am no longer ignoring you. I am ready to hear what you have to say." As you begin to make changes in your waking life that align with this realization, as you set better boundaries, speak your truth, embrace your shadow, and drop the perfectionist mask, something extraordinary happens. The recurring dream begins to shift. The dark monster chasing you might start keeping its distance. Then, it might approach you with a message. Eventually, it may disappear entirely, replaced by new, dynamic imagery of growth, freedom, and transformation. The loop breaks. The unbroken record stops playing. Because the message has finally been received, it is important to approach this work with profound self-compassion. If you are plagued by recurring dreams, do not judge yourself as broken, crazy, or weak. Recognize that your mind is working tirelessly on your behalf. Your unconscious is not your enemy. It is an ancient, wise ally that refuses to let you live a half-life. It refuses to let you remain asleep to your own true potential. Every recurring nightmare is a desperate love letter from your soul, calling you back to wholeness. The next time you find yourself trapped inside that familiar, terrifying nocturnal world, remember that you hold the key to the door. Stop running. Turn around. Listen closely to what the darkness is trying to teach you, because on the other side of your greatest inner terror lies the authentic, integrated life you have been searching for all along.